Network Dojo.
Hey, Jeff Frensink here from Network Dojo, and in this video we're going to talk about Cisco recertifications in the new certification program coming down the pipe in the year 2020, February 24 to be exact there. And so let's dig in. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to cover all the changes for recertifications in the new program, and there's changes at every level. Know that these rules are going to take effect on February 24, 2020. That's when the new program starts. Every single certification almost is changed all the way from NA again up to the IE, and this video will cover all of the levels inside here. So it's valid towards anyone at any level in any track. All right, so before we talk about how to recertify the individual certifications, let's first talk about continuing education credits. Depending on your level of certification, you may or may not be aware of what these are. So these have actually been around for a little while at the CCIE level, I think maybe about a couple of years at this point. And so they are a way that CCIEs have been able to recertify themselves without actually having to take exams. And so by doing different activities, you can earn credits. If you earn enough credits, you can recertify as an alternative method versus taking the classic sort of exam method. The cool thing about the new program is that continuing education credits are going to be valid at every single level of the certification spectrum, all the way from the NAs still up to the CCIEs. So with continuing education credits, I believe in the new program you still will have to enroll in this, so it's not just automatic kind of a thing. It's something, there's a website that you can go to, you can sign up for this and then start tracking your activities which grant you continuing education credits, and this is also would be the place where you would cash in continuing education credits. So how do you earn these credits? There's kind of three main ways that we can earn credits. Mainly is through education. So you can attend Cisco Live, and when you attend the training sessions at Cisco Live, so it's not just going to Cisco Live in general, you have to go to Cisco Live and sit in on different sessions, be the regular sort of 1,000, 2,000, 300, 3,000, I think they're thousands, yeah, level classes, things like tutorials, the ones that you actually have to pay additionally to go to, pretty much anything where you're going, sitting and learning something that will probably grant you credits. And usually the higher the level of session, the more credits you can get. So I think like a 1,000 series exam session is 1 point, 2,000, 2 points, 3,000, 3 points, tutorials and stuff even more on top of that. But this website gives you all that information inside there. Another way you can earn credits is through attending authorized Cisco training courses. So if you attend most courses from a Cisco learning partner, those courses will tend to offer you points, maybe 30 points, maybe 40 points, maybe 50 points for different types of courses. And then kind of the last way that I'm aware of is through authoring exam questions. So the people who actually write questions for, those written NA, NP, IE type exams, people can sign up to be a part of that program, and if they get enrolled and actually create questions that get placed into the exams, you can get points for authoring those questions as well. And so you can use any combination of these methods to start accumulating these continuing education credits. So you'll find, again, all certification levels will be able to leverage these continuing education credits to recertify themselves as an alternative or in addition to taking exams, which is usually what most people are used to in terms of recertifying their certifications. So you can use it for everything. So you can 100% of your recertification efforts can be solely through continuing education credits. At the NP and at the IE levels, you can have part of it be continuing education. So you'll find out that we could say, maybe you'll take one exam and cash in some continuing education credits. So it might be part of your recertification efforts. Or you can completely ignore continuing education credits and still just use exams, pass exams, get recertified that way. And we'll look at the details for every single level as we move forward to it. But as we look at these different certification levels, we're going to talk about, how many points do you need to recertify? For the conversation of points, one continuing education credit equals 1 point towards your recertification. Something new with the new program that we've had to deal with in the current continuing education world is that there will no longer be an administrative cost to cashing in your continuing education credits. And so with CCIEs, if they wanted to use them, they had to pay some money to cash them in and recertify. That will not be the case in the new program at any level of recertification. Another nice thing with the new program is that there will no longer be limitations on how many of your credits can be derived through Cisco Live trainings. Again, for the people who have been in the CCIE world and have been looking at the continuing education credits for CCIE recertification, you couldn't get all of your credits through Cisco Live. You can get a lot of them, but you had to do something somewhere else in addition to Cisco Live. In the new program, there is no cap, and so if you went hog wild at Cisco Live, you could recertify completely through attending Cisco Live training sessions if you could pull that off. And different levels of recertification are a little bit easier to pull it off than others. So the nice thing about continuing education credits is that it just provides more options. They're there if you want to use them. If you want to ignore them, you can ignore them. There's no requirement that you use these. It's just one more way that it might make things easier to recertify. All right, so when can you start accumulating these? So if you are currently, prior to the program changeover, if you're currently a CCIE, you can already register in the portal and start gaining continuing education credits, and those credits will translate over into the new program, so you won't lose any credits there. For people who are not CCIEs yet, so you're currently a CCNA, currently a CCNP, or you will be at the time of the program changeover, you can't start accumulating continuing education credits until February 24, 2020. From that date on, attending Cisco Live, attending training courses, authoring exam questions, those can start accumulating up your continuing education credits. So, if you are currently a CCNP and you went this summer to Cisco Live, it's 2019 as I speak right now, those don't count. Another thing to note about credits, they are valid for up to 3 years from whence they were earned. And so again, if you're a CCIE right now, you're already accumulating your credits. If you went to Cisco Live 3 years ago, those credits are no longer valid. So it's from when you did the act that gave you the credit. So like attending Cisco Live, attending a training course, authoring those certification exam questions, they're good for 3 years, but if you don't use them in 3 years, they're lost. Also, when you do cash in continuing education credits to recertify you, it's going to recertify your certifications. Those credits excess credits are then lost. And so let's say you are in the new program, you're a CCNP. We'll find out it costs 80 points to recertify your CCNP. If you gained 100 credits, maybe you attended 2 training courses, each of them were worth 50, so 50 plus 50, 100. You turn them in, you only needed 80, but those extra 20 from what they said at Cisco Live will go away. So you'll recert, but then you start from a bank of 0 for your next recertification period. At least that's the way it was explained, if we can believe the way that it was explained. So, okay. Now we kind of understand what continuing education credits are. It will make sense as I start talking about all the different levels. So let's work our way from bottom to top. CCNA recertification. If you are a CCNA in the new program, you can recertify either through continuing education credits or through passing exams. If you want to use continuing education credits, it takes 30. And this is over 3 years, right? Because every certification is valid for 3 years. So you have 3 years to get 30 points. Not too hard. You can get 30 points by taking almost any Cisco authorized training course. You can get 30 points in 1 year if you really went after it at Cisco Live. So it's pretty easy to recertify because again, we got 3 years to do this. So really easy to use continuing education credits for this, but you can also pass exams and recertify CCNA. And it's kind of the same deal as what we were used to with the old program. Pretty much any associate or higher level exam will recertify you. So you pass another CCNA exam. So you just retake the CCNA exam, 2 or 3 years later, boom, recertified. Anything higher, professional level concentration exam, technology core exam, CCIE lab exam. Basically, you pass almost anything, your CCNA is recertified. So when you get your CCNA, it's valid for 3 years from the date that you pass the CCNA exam. You can recertify at any time within those 3 years. Once you recertify, your new expiration date is 3 years from the date of recertification. And so let's say I get my CCNA January 1, 2025. Definitely way into the new program. So my expiration would be January 1, 2028. If I recertify 1 year later, my new recertification date, if I certified 2025, I recertified in 26, my new expiration date would be 29, so 3 years from the date of my recertification. If you do not recertify within that 3-year time period, you lose your CCNA and you have to retake and repass the CCNA exam to get it back. So let's go, quick example here. You pass your CCNA on January 1, 2021. So into the new program. Your expiration date would be January 1, 2024. You recertify on August 20th, 2022. So really only about halfway through your certification cycle. And now your new certification expiration date is August 20, 2025. So 3 years past the date of recertification. We're not adding 3 years to the end of your original date. So we don't take our original date of January 1, 2024 and just add 3 years to make it 2027. Nope. 3 years from the date of actual recertification. And this process here, we're just going to repeat this over and over at every single level, so you'll get used to this pretty fast. All right, so the next level that we have is something called a specialist. It's sort of in between a CCNA and a CCNP. You can pass sort of a CCNP level exam in isolation, and you would get something called a specialist badge. And so that is a certification unto itself. It has an expiration date, so let's talk about that. If you get a specialist certification, it's valid for 3 years. You need to achieve 40 points to recertify, either through using continuing education credits or by passing an exam that's worth 40 plus points. And so here it's either or, because there's no exam that we can pass that gives us fewer than 40 points. Lower level certification exams aren't going to help us out here, so I can't have take a CCNA exam and have that help me recertify my specialist badge. That doesn't count. So 40 continuing education credits, or pass any one professional concentration exam, which was an exam that would give you a specialist certification. Any of them, doesn't have to be the same one. Pass one technology core exam of any track, doesn't matter which one. Or pass any CCIE lab exam. Any one of those three things would also recertify your specialist certification. So like pretty much every single cert, it's valid for 3 years from the date that you passed the final exam that you need, and in this case it's just one exam, one cert. So you pass your exam, 3 years from that date is when it would expire. You can recertify at any time within those 3 years. When you recertify, your new date is 3 years from the date of recertification. And if you don't recertify in time, you lose your specialist cert. So let's say that you got a specialist cert by passing your ENWLSD exam, which is a wireless design professional level exam. You pass it January 1, 2021, making your expiration date January 1, 2024. You recertify in August 20, 2022. Your new date expiration is August 20, 2025. So same spiel. All right, up to the CCNP level. With this one, now we're upping the points, up to 80 points now that we need to recertify. Again, you could use continuing education credits for all 80 of those points if you want. You could use just exams to recertify, but now we're starting to get into the scenario where you might have to take more than one exam to recertify your CCNP certification. So, a professional concentration level exam is worth 40 points each. So you could pass 2 of those. 40 plus 40, 80, you got your 80 points. A technology core exam is worth 80, so you could just pass one exam if it was a technology core exam, and that would recertify your entire CCNP. Or any CCIE lab would also recertify this as well. And we could also do a combination. So, again, one of those professional concentration exams worth 40 points, so we could use 40 points from one of those exams, and then we could do 40 continuing education credits, add those together, we get our 80 points. So we can start mixing together continuing education plus exams as yet another alternative or another option to get us to that recertification total. So a very flexible program for sure in this new program. As with everything else, once you initially get your CCNP, it's valid from 3 years from the date that you completed the final exam. So every CCNP takes 2 exams that you have to pass, a core exam plus a concentration exam. You can take them in either order that you want, and so whichever exam you take second, from the date you passed that, that's when you got your NP. 3 years from that is what your expiration date. You can recertify at any time within those 3 years. Once you recertify, new expiration date's 3 years from the date of recertification. If you do not recertify in time, you lose your CCNP. Same deal. Consistency, right? We're seeing consistent message across every single level of certification. So, slightly different one. Let's add a little flavor to this one. We still get our CCNP, so in this case, Enterprise on January 1, 2021. Our expiration is January 1, 2024, 3 years. Let's say that later that year, you attend in June Cisco Live. You earn 23 continuing education credits. Next year, you come back Cisco Live again, earn 20 continuing education credits. So you got 43 continuing education credits. And then at some point you pass a professional concentration exam, I guess at some point, meaning August 20, 2022, and you do whatever paperwork that you need to do to cash in those continuing education credits, and your new CCNP expiration date is going to be August 20, 2025. So you renewed with a combination of continuing education plus a certification exam. Unfortunately, those 3 extra credits are evidently going to be forfeit, and you start from 0. You now have 3 more years to start collecting more continuing education credits or passing more exams. All right, all the way to the top, CCIE recertification. Here we need 120 points to get this. Again, you can do it all through continuing education credits. You can do it all through exams, but exams are different levels of points, so we might need to take multiple exams to do this. So, professional concentration exams, 40 points each. You could take 3 of those and recertify. Technology core exam is worth 80 points. So you could take that plus a concentration exam, getting your 120 points there. You could pass any CCIE lab exam, would recertify any other CCIE that you currently held, or 1 expert level certification exam. That is a expert level written exam, and the only one of those left in the new program is the CCDE, the design expert written exam is still going to be around. So, if you pass that design written expert level exam, that would count and only take 1 exam at that point. So, unless you're getting new CCIEs or new expert level certifications from the exam route, you're going to have to take at least 2 exams, assuming one of them is a core exam, otherwise potentially up to 3 exams if you only wanted to use exams to recertify. But again, we can combine continuing education and exams together, so we could say 80 CE credits plus 1 professional concentration exam, 40 CE credits plus 2 concentration exams, or 40 CE credits plus 1 technology core exam. As long as we get up to that 120, you're good to go. CCIE, valid for 3 years. No more suspended status. If people are familiar with the CCIE world, where after 2 years of active, it would be 1 year of suspended and then you would lose it. That's gone, so it's just a straight 3 years of active, which again is consistent with every other level of certification that we have. So at every level of certification, 3 years, active. You need to recertify within those 3 years. You can recertify at any time. Once you recertify, your new expiration date is 3 years from the date of recertification. Again, consistency across the levels. And if you don't recertify in time, you lose your CCIE. So again, no more suspended status. 3 years of active, but if you don't recertify in 3 years, it's gone. Okay, final example here. You get a January 1, 2021. Your expiration date is January 1, 2024. Cisco Live, get 30 credits. You attended an authorized training course in March of 2020 worth 50 CE credits, 2022. So you've gotten 80 continuing education credits. You pass a professional concentration exam worth 40, 30 plus 50 plus 40, 120. You do the paperwork, boom, you've renewed your CCIE and now renewed it on August 20, 2022. Your new expiration date, August 20, 2025. So hopefully that was pretty clear for everyone, but if you want more information, I have other videos on my YouTube channel about this new program. I talk about the program in general. I talk about specifically the enterprise, the CCIE Enterprise Wireless, and people who are considering going for that versus the existing wireless CCIE. So check those out. I got good information. If you want stuff straight from Cisco, here are a couple of URLs. Obviously, you can't click on it, but if you Google Cisco recertification policy, you'll find the recertification policy information out there. If you Google Cisco continuing education continuing education, you can get to the continuing education program site, which is going to give you information all about those continuing education credits and how you earn things and all that great stuff. So don't take my word for it. The information is out there. With that, we'll say thank you. If you haven't checked out networkdojo.com, go ahead and do that. We've got some awesome training materials for the CCIE wireless and expanding that into the future. So check that out. Otherwise, we will see you next time, and have an awesome day.